Okay, what we're going to do in this video is construct a line parallel to another line through a given point. So if you have a line or a line segment and you're given a point, how are we going to construct a line parallel to that other line that goes through this particular point? Well, if you remember, parallel lines are two lines that will never touch one another. So we have to think about what can we do. You can't just take a straight edge and give it your best shot. In other words, you could take your straight edge and say, well, I don't know, that looks pretty parallel, so let me just draw this line. Okay, that one's obviously not parallel. You could probably draw one that's a little better, but we need to construct something that we are sure is parallel. So let's think about, we're going to use the concept of two parallel lines cut by a transversal. So we have two examples here. We have an example of two parallel lines intersected by a transversal, and then we have one that's not two parallel lines intersected by a transversal. Now, the way we can prove that these are two parallel lines, one of the ways, is that the corresponding angles will be congruent. So if I were to take this bottom part, shift it up here, all of the angles would land right on top of one another. They are all corresponding, which is what you will have when you have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. The fact that 1 is equal to 6 and angle 2 is equal to angle 5, that proves that these lines have to be parallel. Now if you look over here, these two lines are obviously not parallel. And if I were to take this and raise this up, as you can imagine, these angles are not equal to one another. So 6 is not corresponding to 1, and 8 is not corresponding to 4, because those lines are not parallel. So we have two examples, two lines, both cut by a transversal. The difference is this one had two parallel lines, which made the angles equal. This one did not. So let's go back here. How are we going to create this? Well, we can use this and say, okay, well, let's just draw a line through that point. It doesn't matter, you could draw the line in any way. Just make sure it goes through the line and the point. And I'll do it in black, through that line, through that point. Alright. So now the issue is, how are we going to come up with equal angles? Well, again, I could just try and give it my best shot by drawing a line, but there's only one line that's going to go through that point that's going to be parallel to this line, the original one we were given. There's only one. There's not a multiple lines we could draw that are parallel. There's only one, and we need to construct it. We don't want to just guess. So what we can do, let's go ahead and put our compass on the point of intersection, and we're going to draw an arc. Actually, I'm going to draw the arc in a different color here. So I'm going to draw the arc. Alright, again, we don't need to do the entire circle in this case, but it is still dealing with circles again. Now, take your compass and draw another arc from the point that you were given this time. Alright. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and go to the opening of your angle that's been created with the line you drew in the original line, which would be right here where I'm pointing at. So put your tip of your compass on one intersection and then go to the other intersection. Alright, and then you can go ahead, do it on the point that you were given, and that's wrong. Okay, you don't want to go on that point, So it's good that we saw that, because somebody might have made that mistake, and I just did. You go on the other point. That's where you want to be. There we go. All right. Good to see the teacher making mistakes also. All right, now you go ahead and we're going to make a line that goes through. And I'll do that in black. All right, there we go. Okay, so we just constructed a line that is parallel to another line. We constructed this line, which is parallel to the given line that is through a given point. All right, so hopefully we'll be able to do a couple more together.